This is my Ecojustice analysis presentation. So I'm looking at environmental impact statements. There was a recent change in Colorado in April through the Trump administration, which made environmental impact statements a lot less used or weren't required to make it a much more simple process to do things to the environment. So an environmental impact statement is administered by the National Environmental Policy Act to guide the Bureau of Land Management. It was an act which has been around for decades, and the Bureau of Land Management basically oversees federal policies when it comes to use of federal funds with the environment. So when federal agencies plan large-scale projects that impact the environment, EIS is used. EIS is a detailed public document describing the project and any implications it would have on the environment, positive or negative. EIS is used when there is drilling for oil or gas, mining, logging, building projects like highways, dams, railroad, or airports, or for permits on federal land of really any type that will affect the environment. It provides the opportunity for public intervention or for possible alternatives. So within the EIS statements, possible alternatives are looked at and they're evaluated, and basically it is seen whether it's like a viable thing to do, whether the project should go ahead or not. So in April 2025, the Trump administration Bureau of Land Management issued an administrative change. It affects 7 western states, including Colorado. New oil and gas lease approvals will not require full environmental impact statements, and this will fast-track development, and projects are less likely to be held up or delayed. Because the EIS statements did take a long time, and they were quite costly. So that was basically why the Trump administration decided to do this. So the health and social impacts. There's now limited reviews on environmental impacts from anything which really happens on federal land within these states. This affects wildlife, water sources, fire risk, air quality and ecosystems, scientists and indigenous peoples, and local communities lose their chance to have a voice before drilling starts, or really if any kind of project goes ahead. As a regulatory shortcut, it may encourage more drilling, may lead to more pollution and destruction of habitats, and can affect ecosystems and habitats. And that's really, like, from what I gather, the main concern with this is the large-scale implications it will have on the environment. And yeah, there's really no research now done into what these projects will do to the environment. So the stakeholders' perspective for this legislation is that it will fast-track construction. Current EIS requirements are deemed too slow and costly, and there are often loopholes that companies will find or simply find ways not to do them. So existing EIS requirements were really not done anyway a lot of the time. It was something that companies really didn't want to do, usually. So a lot of the time they were simply not done, or there was a way to find not doing them in the first place. Energy companies could lose profits due to the time taken to conduct these studies, and the idea is that it will create jobs if the process is fast-tracked, because there'll be more construction, more projects being done, and it will be happening faster. There'll be a boost in energy production, and this goes along with the current administration's idea of pro-drilling. Stakeholders' perspective against there are lawsuits already being prepared to combat this legislation. By law, NEPA requires EIS, and this is being ignored by the current Bureau of Land Management. Courts could block or delay this executive order if it is deemed unlawful, which it kind of does seem that it is. It could pollute land owned by indigenous populations, farmers and ranchers. It could affect local environment goals, like in Colorado, they have certain environmental goals that they're trying to adhere to. And climate activists are worried about environmental impacts, which it seems like it really could do some damage to the environment and existing ecosystems. So with regards to social workers, the intervention that we can have is really at all levels. They can advocate this against this at a local level or within policy. They can work with the government. They can work within assessment in EIS, analyzing environmental implications or the impact it has on communities. A lot of the time, environmental social workers are conducting these sort of studies. They can work in clinical sense with displaced family to support community members that are affected, and they can also organize community initiatives or work within non-profits that combat anti-environmental policies.